I am very excited about this game-changing book. Seriously, we are going to Australia for a conversation with Kim Wasley. Her book, Children's Drawings Interpreted, How to Understand Children Through Handwriting, Drawing, Doodles, Shapes, and Lines. Oh my, oh my. I wish that she was around when I was a kid, because I have no idea what the interpretation would be. But I could imagine the things that you could find out. And that's the brilliance of this. Imagine if you had a better roadmap all the way around. Kim, thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you, Kate. Lovely to be here.
So what was the road to you writing this book?
Well, Kate, I actually first was exposed to handwriting analysis at the age of 12 myself, and then became a handwriting expert working within the court system for police, legal, corporate, and gradually transitioned into helping children because there was such a need there. And this is where drawings became more important because, of course, children still learning to get their words and their sentence structure. So they don't talk very much, but they all draw. And this was where the fascination developed for me, that we actually all drawn to particular shapes based, and this is, it's actual psychological study, the study of shapes and why we're drawn to them. So looking at the symbolism in handwriting and then taking that same symbolism and applying it to drawings was really just, for me, it was a natural progression.
Wow. So you put this book together and then you have to kind of pare it down. What do I put in? What don't I put down? You've had lots of success with lots of people in your life going down this path, which is tremendous. You've helped so many children who now have gone on to become very successful adults in whatever field that they're in. So you have to be very thrilled about that. But how do you pull it in? How do you decide what stories get in? And tell us some of those stories.
Well, I look at the different components of a picture. And there are just so many stories. I've given quite a few in the book, but you can imagine there's many more. And I really try to show you in the story what those different components are: the house, the tree, and then the family. So, for example, I had a woman come and see me with 3 children. She'd recently got divorced, and she said to me, "I'm actually terrified of my 4-year-old." She was really scared of her 4-year-old, and adorable looking little child, but an absolute little hell on wheels. And she was unable to control this child. And what had happened with after the divorce, the child had just refused to listen to her with anything, tantruming all the time, being deceitful, stealing things. And one look at the drawing, well, the little girl had drawn herself bigger than all the other family members. She placed herself above the other family members. She used an incredibly strong pressure, which is anger, and a lot of angles in her drawing. So the combination of all those 4 things showed that there was a real problem with control with this little girl. So Mum had to actually show her that she wasn't able to assume the dad's role. No, Mum was the one in charge. And so that way we're able to help the little girl to actually have boundaries, have structure, and really just, resort back to being a child as opposed to trying to be the new controller in the family.
Wow. So what a difference that must have made in the lives of that whole family.
Absolutely. If that little girl, if they hadn't brought her to me at that time or sent her drawings to me, who knows, she could have really, had a life of crime by now.
Wow. And I said it in the title, so we'll say it again. Children's Drawings Interpreted, How to Understand Children Through Handwriting, Drawing, Doodles, Shapes, and Lines. And you talked about the significance of shapes. So give us a little taste of that. And of course, everyone's going to have to buy the book to get the real meat and the incredibleness of this and the significance of it. But I like the idea that we're telling them a few of the secrets. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, thank you, really. Yeah, Kate, so children and adults will use shapes sometimes. So this little girl in the book, she used heart shape for her mother and herself. And then for the male entity, she used a star. And we find that also very much in the LGBTIQ community, where they will use shapes instead of actually trying to depict either the male or female form. So there's just so much, as you can see, I'm really passionate about it. And there's so much information in what people do and how much they're governed by the subconscious in what they do. They don't even realize why they're doing it. So by looking at drawings and being able to say, you're a very lateral thinker, for example. You use something different. You don't think like you and I do. You think out of the box. So you're actually choosing a shape to depict a person. So it's fascinating to see how the human mind is involved in even a simple line on a piece of paper.
Was this fun for you to do this project?
Really fun. Yeah, really fun. Because I've had the drawings, over the years, I've got the stories, but they're all in my head. So to be able to share them and to be able to actually have people, the few people that have looked at the book have said, oh no, hang on, I can't put it down. I'm carrying it everywhere with me. It's in the kitchen, then it's in the bathroom. And yeah, and that's a real thrill to sort of see that people are intrigued and so fascinated by what you actually can learn. There's such a wealth of information. And having worked for over 20 years in the field, you just get so much feedback from people as well. And that feedback is really invaluable. And then me realizing, okay, so that's, developing. It's a science and it's developing all the time as we actually see, yes, both those children had autism. And I'm looking and seeing, okay, both of them drew adults without two eyes, but only one eye. All sorts of things where it's a constantly evolving field.
That's what I was going to say. It sounds like every day, week, month, year, something new comes up, something different happens, because obviously culture changes. I mean, look what we've gone through. If you look at the last couple of years, and if you take it by the decades, and then where children are, because I guess you have to meet the children where they're at, right?
That's it. What developmental level they're at. They might be 4, but they could have the mentality of a 2-year-old. I've got a 17-year-old in the book who's autistic and has drawn the family members on the toilet. So now, the mother was mortified when she brought that drawing to me. It's like, excuse, I'm so sorry, but this is what my child drew. And I was like, perfect. Whatever your child draws, please don't censor it. Bring it to me. And that's quite normal, when they go through those different developmental ages, particularly boys, they're fascinated with, farts and poo and all those things. So it's just normal. But of course, if we see that in a 20-year-old, we know there's big problems. It's all relative to the age that the child is at.
But it's wonderful that you say, don't censor it. Just let's see the whole thing. And that's what the book is about. So in this book, that's what you really get. Children's drawings interpreted. I mean, those are very easy to remember. Kim Wasley, that's who we are talking to. Of course, she's the author. How to Understand Children Through Handwriting, Drawing, Doodles, Shapes, and Lines. And there's a website, drawingsinterpreted.com, so you can certainly go there. Obviously, the book, you can get it a lot of different places, including Amazon and Barnes & Noble and all those great places as well. What do you ultimately hope people take away from reading your book?
I want to give children everywhere a voice. They don't use words. They use drawings. And there's so many children out there who have become nonverbal. Either they're on the spectrum, perhaps they've become so involved and engrossed with technology that they're no longer communicating. Teenagers, we know, just naturally aren't as communicative. But these really young children that aren't communicating, parents don't know what to do with them. They don't know how to help them. And this is where drawings give those children a voice. So the nonverbal child is a big field in itself. But we have teenagers, and so many people saying, how do I give this child the very best start in life and direct them from a very young age so that they can be happy and successful.
Perfect place to end this. Congratulations on your book, and thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks, Kate. It's been a pleasure.